Board of Education to order. Mr. Hiddle, please call the roll.
Mr. Patrizio.
Here.
Mr. Ford. Here. Mrs. McMacken.
Here.
Mr. Bostic.
Here.
Mr. Height.
Here. Please stand and join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you've had an opportunity to look over the minutes from the October 18th meeting, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Are there any additions or corrections? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any changes to the agenda for this evening? No. Okay. We have a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Career Center report is pretty easy. Right now we've got about 20 German students that are here with us, touring and sharing their experiences. Then in the spring, we're sending a group of students to Germany. Did a year or so ago, so it's a good partnership. Everybody seems to be enjoying themselves, and the German students are getting immersed in American culture, and then this spring our students will be immersed in German culture. So that's the things that are happening at the Career Center. Mr. Bostic, the work session review.
Thought it went very well. We got a lot of topics covered. It was always good to hear from everybody and everybody's input. So, just got back from it. So.
Okay, anybody have anything else to add? Other than Kelly got cold.
Did you get cold?
Okay, I have nothing on hearing to the public on agenda items. Treasurer's agenda.
Good evening, everyone. Good news again on the fiscal reports. As you've seen, we're right on target budget-wise, so where we expect to be at this point. Looking at our past history, everything looks to be on target. Were there any questions about the monthly fiscal reports that you received? The next thing on there is the approval of the alternate tax budget for fiscal year 2020. That's what is due at the end of the calendar year. And so we have two resolutions this month. We're going to vote on approving me to create a alternate tax budget, and then next month in December you'll vote on the tax budget that gets sent off to the county auditor's office. And those are just normal practice. It's the only two things that I have on the agenda.
Okay, now do we vote on those now, or is that later in the?
Nope, we can vote on those now.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the alternate tax budget?
And the financial reports.
Yeah. Thank you.
So made.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Again, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Hiddle. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. So, as you know, each month we always feature one of our schools. We have been doing a lot of work with our success-bound work out at the high school with Mr. Messick and his team, and we've started working our way down to the junior high. So the junior high is doing a lot of preliminary work and getting some things in motion. So they're doing some of that work that we'll see develop further, and they're going to talk a little bit about what they did just here recently. That was quite a success.
Thank you. Thank you for having me this evening. Yeah, we're really excited to share the activities we had from last week. Tony Riley, our guidance counselor, works really hard along with our other staff, and I get to work with her, and it's a lot of fun to prepare our college and career week. That's what we've historically called it. And as Dwayne was talking about, transitioning to that idea of what that means in terms of success bound. So we're working through that this year. We did some really cool things last week, and I just wanted to quickly share those with you. And we have other things that we're going to be doing as we go throughout the school year. We kicked off the College and Career Week last week with half of our 8th grade on Monday. Went and toured Wright State University. The other half went on Wednesday. So I want to thank Tony for arranging that, and the transportation department for arranging the buses and getting us to and from Wright State. I believe we had, both trips we did last week, while kids were there, we had kind of weird things happen where the bus drivers and our staff had to adjust on the fly. So the transportation department was awesome to work with, and we were able to work through those. But the kids had a great time at Wright State. They attended a welcome session that you see all the way over there on the right. Had a tour of the campus. They saw classrooms, they saw housing, went into the dining halls, went into the tunnels at Wright State, if you're familiar with Wright State. So a lot of fun and a lot of, I guess, information that they were able to take home. As we have surveyed and talked with our students over the years, a lot of our kids just don't get the opportunity to step foot on a college campus. So we're taking that on as our responsibility to make sure they get to do that. They also did, at the end of the day, Mrs. Riley, who's a Wright State alum, designed a scavenger hunt for our students, so kind of ended the day on a fun note and then came back. On Friday of last week, and this was a huge undertaking, every student at Piqua Junior High School toured 2 local manufacturing facilities. And right here in town for 3 of them and 1 in Sydney. So I want to thank French Oil, Crayex, and Evenflow, and Emerson in Sydney also was willing to host. It's really hard to talk to people about, and some companies are hesitant to host that many students. So in the morning, the way we worked it out, our 7th graders, half of them went to one of those 2 companies, one of those 4 companies, and then they went to another one after their tour there. So I believe it was French Oil and Crayex were partnered, so kids went to French Oil, and then they went to Crayex, and Emerson, and who's the other one? It would be Evenflow were partnered together, so those kids would go back and forth. So they got to hear from our local businesses about opportunities for careers potentially in the future, just to even hear about what kinds of things are manufactured in our community. Kids weren't aware of those things. So it was pretty cool. We had really good feedback from the companies as we were there and talking with some of those folks. One of the interesting conversations I had was with the HR director at Evenflow, and what she talked about. So I guess our thought was getting kids the exposure to what the opportunities are. And she was excited about kids going home and talking to their parents. And maybe like now, having some people come in, and as a recruiting tool for them to get people to come in now to say, hey, here are these opportunities right in our own backyard. So those are some of the things that kids got to see. Some more pictures from our tours on the far right. One of our students ran into his mom at work, so that was kind of cool. She got to see her son during the school day, so they were excited to see each other. So a really, really just awesome opportunity for our kids to get out there and see some of the cool things going on. So that was on Friday. And again, every kid at Piqua Junior High School toured 2 facilities. So each shift, the morning and the afternoon, we had 8 buses that were going all over the place. And so again, a huge thank you to the transportation department, just to be able to get that done during the day and try to get there in a timely manner, still dealing with elementary routes and make sure they got back to the junior high on time for dismissal, and it worked like clockwork. It was great. Last week we also had a recruiter from Bowling Green. This is year 3 or 4, I think year 3, that we've had Van Wright, who's a recruiter for Bowling Green State University, come and speak with our 8th graders. He's really active on social media. If you're a Twitter person at all, I know Dwayne is. Follow him on Twitter. He does some really good stuff on social media. He was trying to get our kids excited before he came, tweeting at us saying, "Get ready. We're going to come in with the energy tomorrow." So that's him talking to our students and posing with. He had another tweet with that picture, said that we had an early BG lean, is the way he called it. So talking to the kids about their future and the kinds of things they need to be doing now to get themselves ready for the opportunities they'll see in the future. So it's good to have that college representative in to talk directly to our kids. Along the more along the career path, we had somebody from the Upper Valley Career Center Adult Division who came in and spoke with all of our 7th graders last Wednesday. Talked about everything from the opportunities that are available locally in terms of careers that are out there. Talking about the training that they provide that's available to them. And this was another one where kids could go to parents about things that are available. And then they did spend a lot of time talking on how important it is for kids to have those soft skills. Making great eye contact, good firm handshake, things like that. So they did a lot of those things. So that was a good perspective for our kids to hear. So we appreciated them coming out. We did a career day door decorating contest. some of the examples we had, a lot of local kind of flavor to those, so kids spent some time learning about these businesses while they created those, so that was pretty neat. Every day last week, teachers were given a list of questions of the day that they were supposed to use to interact with their students about their college and career choices. I won't read those to you, I'll let you look at those. But every teacher, every period of the day, went over those questions at the beginning of their class with their kids. So every student was able to hear from all of their teachers regarding those things. Why, where did you go to college? Why? Why did you choose this career? What's the best thing about your career that you've chosen? So that real personal connection that sometimes is hard for kids to get with a teacher, it was really nice for them to go through that all week. So I was doing a formal observation on Monday on a teacher who was able to start her class with that, and it really starts off in a very positive way. So that was neat. Other things we have coming up throughout the year, last week was kind of the big push, the big concentration. We have other things throughout the year. Next week, all of our 7th graders will visit the Upper Valley Career Center for just a really brief general tour where they see many of the programs that the Career Center has to offer. And so we'll walk over there with our 7th graders. In the spring, our 7th graders visit Edison. Again, by the time they leave junior high, we like them to see a 2-year and a 4-year college. So again, probably a lot of our kids, that's their first experience with the college campus. So that goes back to when Chip was at Edison. We've been doing that for a long time, so the kids really enjoyed that. Sean, were you there when we did it the first year? So really cool stuff. Career guest speakers, we're excited about this. Almost in the style of like a TED Talk. We have some things planned. We have one for sure planned. Tony has worked with a recent graduate from Piqua, Brady Wise, if you know Brady, going into the healthcare field, going into the nursing field. He's scheduled to come in and do a talk with kids who are interested in the medical field, in the nursing field. So they'll do a sign up during our advisory time, and he'll just kind of share with them his path and where he is now and what opportunities are available to us. So we're going to look to expand that in different career fields. And then something we've done for a while is Edison hosts a program called Women in STEM. It used to be called We Are IT, where they work with schools from throughout the area to bring female students in to expose and share them to opportunities in the STEM field. So we always send representatives there. We work with our math and science teachers, and they recommend students to go there. We're limited with how many we can send. We'd love to send more, but we max out what they let us send. So it was a pretty full week, and we still have a lot of things left to go. And these things all transition really well into what we're talking about with Success Bound. They complement what we do academically very well, and hopefully tie those things together with, okay, here's why you're doing those things. Here's why it's important to do well in math. Here's why it's important to do well in English language arts. Questions?
Sounds like you keep them busy.
Mrs. Riley did a really good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have our Business Advisory Council, and we've had that already in our district probably for, I think, around maybe 13 years or so, but the state redefined it last year and put some requirements in place, and we do have one board representative, Mr. Bostic is on that, and he'd like to provide an update on our last meeting. This was our second meeting we held this year.
Yes, I think the big highlight is, I know that Rob is literally working probably even as we speak, getting ideas and making contacts with the community. I guess we're going to be having 4 students that will be starting at, is it PolySource with Matt Cox here?
Well, we actually have 4 that are currently already there working. We have a couple more that are going to be started working there. So, yeah, we just found out of another one. I think it was yesterday. We just found out there was another one. So
Oh,
we have that
good.
going on.
But it's got different pathways, you know, that students can take for careers and graduation. It's really a very exciting thing, very dynamic, and it's interesting to be, you know, to get to see that going on, because I know Rob's making more and more contacts. They're trying to get some other things going, which are kind of in the hopper, but, you know, we're going to wait to really let people know about, you know, until things are a little bit firmer, you know, planned and organized.
They've been an important connection with us, and ultimately, we'll have to have a plan in place by the end of the year that we do have to submit to the state, and it will include the curriculum they're using, as well as just what is our overall goal with connecting with our local manufacturers and businesses. So one of the things they're helping us develop are those keywords or those soft skills that Jeff talked about. We're trying to help kids realize that they can be replaced if they don't have certain skills. So they have to be able to communicate, they have to collaborate, they have to be able to attend and do all those important things. So they're helping us come up with that vocabulary and those terminologies that ultimately our teachers will use within their lessons to help students realize that if they don't have those people skills, they may be replaced by automaticity out there in the workforce. So just trying to get them early on and make that impact.
And I thought your assignment was very good, that you gave the committee.
So they're actually studying their own employees and looking for the skills that they might be missing or that they have, and then they're going to come back with those one-word terms that will help us develop those skills.
Good.
Just a quick note, our 5th grade did go to Camp Kern, and this is a yearly overnight camp that they do every year, and of course they were really excited. This morning they woke up with no electric or heat. They were cold, of course. That came back on, they were all set, and then it went off again. And they found out, probably about 1 o'clock or right after lunch, that it wasn't going to come back either very late tonight or possibly tomorrow morning. And of course, Mr. Kaufman called the principal and said, we might need to come home. So again, as Jeff said, the transportation department just jumped right in and helped us find some drivers and some buses, and we had to get a truck down there to pick up all the stuff. So we went down there, they got all picked up. They're back home tonight and safe and sound with their parents, and we'll work out a process tomorrow on communicating all the things like some of the refunds and everything that will happen because they weren't there that whole camp. So we'll get that information out, but keeping them there wasn't going to be a good idea. But they sure did adjust well, and I continued getting photos, and they did some really good projects even though they were a little bit chilly. So. And last, Nate looks so tired over there because he's a brand new father. So congratulations to Nate
Congratulations.
For his new arrival. So.
Get used to not sleeping.
Yeah. And that's it for my report.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions for Mr. Thompson right at this point? If not, superintendent's
Okay.
agenda.
I'd like to recommend the board approve the attached list of donations. Just quickly, Unity National Bank has donated quite a bit to us, and they've been a great partner. FM Station has donated to our PBIS programs, which we're very thankful for, as well as we have some local citizens and a church that has donated to some of our clubs, so we appreciate that. Recommend the local list of grants to be approved, and we have 3 on here, I believe. They are from Walmart, the American Legion donated to our Veterans Wall at the high school, and then the Piqua Education Foundation donated as well. So we appreciate those grants because that helps us put together some programming that we might not otherwise be able to offer to our students. And then finally, recommend the board approval of the attached overnight extended trip from the high school for the Model United Nations Conference in Indianapolis, Indiana, from March 14th of 19 to March 15th. This is a conference that they've gone to before, and the students actually get to compete. They do compete, but they engage in an actual model of the UN. So it's a very, very good piece, and they get better each year that they go. So it's a really good overnight stay for them. Finally, recommend board approval of the list of disposable items from technology that's attached. And as always, we try to take everything that we can from it and reuse it. So what's left is just really scrap.
All right, any other questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve the superintendent's agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, personnel agenda.
I'll cover that tonight. Mr. Lyons is at a parent meeting for one of our sporting events, so he's there working with Chip on some things there. So I'll cover this. There really is not a whole lot at this point. You can see we do have some FMLA. We did hire a brand new head cook at the high school, and she's doing a great job, and she's been under training all along. And Jennifer, our food director, is going to continue to stay out there and work with her and make sure everything's going really well that way. So otherwise, it's substitute teachers and some classified positions, so nothing really major.
Okay, are there any questions on the personnel agenda? If not, can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please signify approval by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. No old business. We do have a couple items of new business today. Have some first read of the Neola policies update.
It was just a policy that was unintentionally left off from the last review that we did, so nothing special, it's just an update to that policy.
Okay, and we also have a recommendation for school buses.
Yes, we went out for bid, got three bids back from different manufacturers, and we narrowed everything down. We were having some issues with the buses that we've been getting. Historically, you've seen transit buses all throughout the city of Piqua. They're Bluebirds, and there's been some major leaking issues, dashboard issues, we can go on and on. So some quality control things going on at Bluebird, and so Beth asked that we try to go out and see if we can't find a good replacement for that. So I'm asking that we've done our research, went through the process, and that we're going to try to switch to some stub nose buses that we'll put out on the rural routes. We're looking at getting 4 of them this year in hopes that we won't need to replace buses next year. We have some Caterpillar buses that are giving us some very expensive fits to the tune of $10,000 and $12,000 a whack, and so at some point you can't keep putting that money into those buses, and they're the ones on the list to go next. So these 4 buses would help to alleviate the Caterpillar problem. The bids came in, the bus price is $93,960. That's not including trade-in values, but $93,960 after the $200 discount for paying for them on delivery. And if you take out the warranty that Beth recommended and we've researched, that would be exactly what we were paying to buy the transit buses in the past. The warranty will actually cover the engine as well as the transmission and the exhaust system on the bus for 120 months, 10 years, and 150,000 miles. And so we usually have 150,000 on them by the year 10. So that'll basically cover the major parts on those buses for that duration. And so talking to him, he's like, there's certain parts on there that you do have to replace that are covered by this that usually help pay for itself. So we'll end up getting our money back out of the, and Matt, our mechanic, has reviewed all this and he agrees. And some of the other things that are on here, all LED lights, Michelin tires last about twice as long. And there'll be a backup camera. This will be the first time that we'll have buses with backup cameras in them. We aren't supposed to back up buses if we can get away with it, but these buses are now coming with them, and I think that would have been useful the other day when we had a bus that was stuck at the end of a road and had no other option but to back up because of how the road closures have been going around town and hit a car backing up. It was very minor damage, but again, put it in reverse and it's in your mirror, you would have been able to see that and not back the bus up. And that also helps, obviously, if there's kids behind and those kind of things. So disc brakes are the other option. This will be the first time that we'd have disc brakes in the district as well. They're supposed to last longer, actually twice as long as what we've been used to. So it's very little money versus how much it costs to replace the parts over that time period. So we've reviewed all this, and this was the cheapest but best option for us, and that's through Rush Bus Centers, and each bus is $93,960.
What's capacity?
These buses are going to be 78 passenger buses. We've bought them a little bit bigger in the past. The rural routes don't need them, and it's in the cycle that we're on because we try to do 2 every year. We're coming up to where our 70 passengers need replaced, not the 84 passengers. So it fits in the time frame. It's nice when you get on the rural routes. I actually took this bus for a spin around out in the country to see how it turned versus the transit buses, and driving it wise, it was great. It actually turned a lot better than I expected it to, and I was impressed. And I do have my CDL, and I used to have to drive a bus when I coached in North Carolina, so yeah, anyways, it was fun.
That's a twofer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, actually today we thought, just in case, do I need to go down to help pick up kids from Camp Kern just in case? So if we got to do it, we got to do it. So that's what I have. We're asking for your approval to purchase 4 of those.
Okay, does anybody have any questions, Jeremy, about the buses?
So how many is it that need major work?
So one's dead, doesn't even work any longer. So we're starting the process of cannibalizing it. So we're pulling off parts that we know that we can use on other buses, because that stuff is super expensive. But it blew the engine, the block was out. I mean, it would have been a total rehaul. It's not worth it. The other three have some major oil leaks and stuff going on. They're talking about leaving one of them here as a spare, and then we're probably going to put two of them on gov deals and try to see if we can get a better price than the trade-in. The trade-in prices on these were pretty low. Nobody wants the Caterpillars.
Any other questions? Hey, if not, do we have a motion to approve the purchase of the buses?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Let's call the roll on this one, Mr. Hiddle, please.
Mr. Bostic,
Aye.
Mr. Patrizio,
Aye.
Mr. Height,
Aye.
Mr. Ford,
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye.
Motion carries. You got your buses. I have nothing on hearing of the public on non-agenda items. We do need a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of employment, dismissal, appointment, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of employees as permitted under Ohio Revised Code 121.22, and we will be taking no action when we come out. Reminder that our next meeting is December 20th here at 6 o'clock. Okay, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We will go into executive session.
Binding Chromebook?